Hey pioneers, I need you to stop scrolling right now and pay close attention to what I'm about to share with you. For the past 5 years, we've heard countless rumors, endless speculation, and waves of doubt about Pi Network. People called it fake, they said it would never happen, and they laughed at millions of us clicking that button every single day. But today, everything changes. Today, I'm going to show you an official legal document that proves all the doubters completely wrong. And what this document reveals about the launch date is absolutely shocking. Before we dive into the specifics, let me welcome all my incredible pioneers watching from around the globe. Whether you're tuning in from Nigeria, the United States, India, the Philippines, Canada, Kenya, or anywhere else, I'm thrilled to have you here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update about Pi Network. And drop a comment saying Pi Network to the moon along with your country and flag. Let's show the world how powerful and united our community truly is. Now, what I'm about to reveal isn't based on social media gossip or some random blog post. This is a legitimate legal white paper filed with the European Union under their extremely strict cryptocurrency regulations called MiCA. And trust me, what's hidden inside this document will completely change how you think about Pi Network's future. Let me explain why this matters so much. The MiCA regulations in Europe represent the toughest regulatory framework for cryptocurrency anywhere in the world. Most crypto projects are absolutely terrified of these regulations because they're so demanding. If a cryptocurrency can pass a MiCA compliance in Europe, it essentially becomes certified as a legitimate, professional, institutional-grade financial asset on a global scale. This isn't some small achievement, this is massive. The document I discovered is titled MiCA White Paper, PI, version 1.1, October 2025, and it was filed by PiBit Ltd, a professional corporate entity based in the British Virgin Islands that's owned by the Pi Foundation. Now you might be wondering why this corporate structure matters at all. Here's the thing, scammers don't set up complex, compliant international corporate structures and then file detailed legal documents with European government authorities. The existence of this document alone completely destroys the narrative that Pi Network is somehow a scam. It proves that while the core team remained silent for years, they weren't sleeping or abandoning the project. They were building an incredibly sophisticated legal fortress that practically no other cryptocurrency project has managed to create. The stated purpose of this document is crystal clear right at the top: seeking admission to trading in EU EEA. That's the official goal, stated in black and white in a legal filing. But here's where things get really interesting, and I promise you're going to want to hear what comes next. The dates buried in this document are going to blow your mind. These aren't estimates from some YouTube influencer or predictions from a random Twitter account. These are legally filed dates in an official government document. Let that sink in for a moment before I tell you what they are. According to Section F.10 of this official document, the publication date of this final white paper is set for November 27, 2025. But here's the one that really matters. Section F.9, which is titled Starting Date of Offer to the Public or Admission to Trading, lists the date as November 28, 2025. We finally have a real date. It's not speculation anymore. It's not hopeful thinking. It's right there on paper in a legal document filed with European authorities. The final countdown has officially begun, and every pioneer who held on through years of doubt is about to be vindicated in the biggest way possible. But knowing the date is only part of the story. The next question everyone wants answered is where exactly you'll be able to trade Pi. For years, people guessed it might be Binance, or maybe Coinbase, or perhaps some other major exchange. Well, this document answers that question too, and the answer might surprise you. In the summary section, and again in section E.33, the document explicitly names the initial trading platform. It states that Pi will be admitted to trading initially on OKCoin Europe Limited, which operates under the major global brand that most of you know as OKX. For those of you who aren't familiar with OKX, let me be clear. This is not some small, unknown exchange operating out of someone's basement. OKX is a massive Tier 1 global exchange. Pi isn't launching on some shady platform with questionable security. It's launching on one of the biggest and most respected stages in the entire cryptocurrency world, fully compliant with European law. So let me recap what we know for certain now. The date is November 28th. The exchange is OKX. The debate about whether this is real or fake is officially over. But this document reveals something even more important than just dates and exchanges, and understanding this will help you appreciate why the journey took so long. Think back to all the complaints over the past few years. People constantly asked why the core team was moving so slowly. They wondered why there was so little communication. They said the open mainnet would never actually launch. Every single day, someone somewhere was complaining about the pace of development. This document is the answer to every single one of those complaints. While skeptics were posting negative comments on Twitter and YouTube, Dr. Nicola and his team were doing incredibly boring, incredibly expensive, and incredibly difficult legal work. They were building entities like PiBit and the Pi Foundation, ensuring compliance with SocialChain Inc. in the United States, all while aligning everything with the complex new European MiCA regulations. This kind of work doesn't happen overnight. It takes years of careful planning, massive resources, and extremely specialized legal expertise. If the team had rushed and launched 2 or 3 years ago like everyone was demanding, Pi would likely have been banned in Europe and possibly faced legal action in the United States. The project could have been dead on arrival, shut down by regulators before it ever had a chance to succeed. The strategy that looked slow and frustrating to outsiders was actually a masterclass in preparation. This document proves that the core team understood exactly what was coming in terms of global cryptocurrency regulation, and they spent years making sure Pi would be completely bulletproof when those regulations arrived. The skeptics wanted a quick pump and dump scheme. The core team was building a global financial weapon designed to last for decades. And now that weapon is armed, loaded, and pointed directly at the traditional financial system. We won the waiting game, and now we're about to win the financial game. But there's something else in this document that changes everything we thought we knew about Pi's potential value. The document states there is a maximum token supply of 100 billion Pi tokens if and when fully mined, and there are currently approximately 8.2 billion Pi tokens in circulation. Let me break down why these numbers are so significant. A maximum supply of 100 billion tokens might sound like a lot, but when you compare it to the number of active users in the Pi network ecosystem, the mathematics start to look very interesting. With millions of pioneers worldwide and only 8.2 billion tokens currently in circulation, the supply is actually much tighter than many people realized. This supply information is crucial for understanding potential price dynamics once trading begins. When you have millions of potential buyers but a relatively limited circulating supply, basic economics tells us that significant price movement becomes possible. I'm not here to make price predictions or tell you Pi will reach some specific value, but understanding the supply dynamics helps you grasp why so many people are excited about what might happen after November 28th. The document also reveals important details about how Pi tokens are distributed. Of the total minimal Pi token supply of 100 billion, up to 10 billion Pi tokens are set aside for Pi Foundation for the treasury, and 5 billion Pi tokens are for the liquidity pool. This allocation structure shows careful planning for long-term sustainability and market stability. Now let's talk about the technology behind Pi Network, because this is another area where the document provides fascinating insights. Pi Network's consensus and transaction processing layer is built on a fork of the Stellar Consensus Protocol, which is a blockchain protocol designed for fast, low-cost transactions. Pi uses what's called Federated Byzantine Agreement, or FBA, for its consensus mechanism. Without getting too technical, this means Pi doesn't rely on the energy-intensive mining process that Bitcoin uses. Instead, it achieves consensus through a more efficient method that allows for quick transaction processing while maintaining security. There's a gas fee of just 0.01 Pi applied to each transaction on the Pi blockchain. This incredibly low transaction cost means Pi can realistically be used for everyday purchases and peer-to-peer payments without fees eating up significant portions of each transaction. This is crucial for Pi's goal of becoming a widely used digital currency rather than just a speculative investment asset. The environmental aspect is also worth mentioning. Unlike proof-of-work consensus algorithms, the Federated Byzantine Agreement used by Pi doesn't rely on competing hashing power to reach consensus, so it doesn't consume the massive amounts of energy required by Bitcoin, leaving a much lighter environmental footprint. This matters more than you might think. As governments worldwide become increasingly concerned about the environmental impact of cryptocurrency, having an energy-efficient consensus mechanism positions Pi favorably for long-term regulatory acceptance. The team wasn't just thinking about launching a coin. They were thinking about building something that could exist and thrive under increasingly strict environmental regulations. Let's also discuss the security measures Pi Network has implemented, because this document outlines several important safeguards. Users, called pioneers, must complete KYC verification with identity proof and sometimes biometric or liveness checks. This helps reduce fake accounts, Sybil attacks, and identity fraud. Businesses that want to hold non-custodial mainnet wallet addresses must go through KYB or Know Your Business verification. Pi Network publishes safety notices warning users about scams, impersonations, phishing attempts, and misuse of its name or trademark by unaffiliated parties. They also have a dedicated safety center to educate the community. To protect wallets from unauthorized transfers, Pi introduced a feature called two-factor authentication to secure wallets. These security measures aren't just nice features. They're essential infrastructure for a cryptocurrency that wants to achieve mainstream adoption. Regular people who aren't tech experts need to feel confident that their assets are protected, and these safeguards provide that confidence. The document also addresses what rights and obligations come with holding Pi tokens, and this is important to understand clearly. Holders of Pi tokens do not acquire contractual rights or obligations from the issuer. Users are solely responsible for managing their private keys and ensuring compliance with applicable laws and regulations when transacting with Pi tokens. What does this mean in practical terms? It means Pi functions as a pure cryptocurrency rather than a security or investment contract. You're not buying shares in a company. You're not entitled to dividends or voting rights. You're holding a digital currency that you can use for transactions within the Pi ecosystem and soon trade on exchanges. This classification is precisely what allows Pi to seek admission to trading under MiCA regulations as a crypto asset rather than as a more heavily regulated financial security. The document explicitly states that the Pi token and its on-chain functionalities are immutable, meaning no modifications to transactions or the current blockchain ledger history can be made by anyone, including the issuer. This immutability is a core principle of blockchain technology and ensures that the system remains decentralized and resistant to manipulation. Now, let's address something that's incredibly important for everyone watching. The manner of transferring purchased Pi to holders depends on the exchange from which such tokens are purchased in the secondary market. Neither PiBit nor Pi Foundation is involved with the secondary offers and sales of Pi. This means that once Pi is listed on exchanges, the trading operates independently of the core development team. You'll be buying and selling Pi through whatever exchange you choose to use, following that exchange's procedures and rules. The Pi Foundation and associated entities have built the infrastructure, completed the regulatory work, and positioned Pi for success. But the trading itself happens in the open market. Let me also mention the broader ecosystem development that's happening alongside this regulatory progress. The Pi Foundation is committed to providing financial support to third parties to incorporate the use of the Pi token into their operations. This includes Pi Network Ventures, a $100 million fund to support startups integrating the Pi token into practical, real-world use cases. This venture fund is absolutely critical for Pi's long-term success. A cryptocurrency is only valuable if people can actually use it for something. By funding startups that integrate Pi into real products and services, the Pi Foundation is actively building the ecosystem that will give Pi genuine utility beyond just being a trading asset. Think about it this way. If hundreds or thousands of businesses start accepting Pi for payments, if apps and platforms integrate Pi for transactions, if real economic activity starts flowing through the Pi network, then Pi becomes much more than just another cryptocurrency sitting on an exchange. It becomes a functioning digital economy, and that's when the real magic happens. The document also makes clear that Pi tokens are intended to serve as the medium of exchange and unit of account within the Pi ecosystem, supporting use cases such as payments, marketplace transactions, and other functions. The vision has always been to create a peer-to-peer economy where pioneers can directly use Pi to buy goods and services from each other. As we approach November 27th and 28th, there are practical steps every pioneer needs to take if you haven't already. If you haven't completed your KYC verification, you need to do that immediately. If you haven't migrated your Pi to the mainnet, that needs to happen now. This isn't a drill anymore. The train is leaving the station, and you don't want to be left behind because you didn't complete the necessary verification steps. I also want to address the skeptics directly. For years, you said Pi was a scam. You said it was just collecting data. You said it would never launch. You said pioneers were wasting their time. This official European legal filing proves you were wrong about every single thing. PiBit is a BVI business company, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Pi Foundation. These are real legal entities with real compliance structures operating under real regulatory frameworks. SocialChain Inc. is a privately held technology company founded in 2018 that operates as a provider of blockchain-based platform services. The Pi Foundation was established in December 2024 to oversee the development and governance of the Pi network ecosystem. These aren't imaginary organizations. They're real companies with real offices, real employees, and real legal obligations. The fact that this white paper was filed with European authorities under MiCA regulations means it underwent serious scrutiny. Europe doesn't mess around with cryptocurrency compliance. The information in this document had to be accurate, complete, and verifiable. The existence of this filing alone validates everything pioneers have believed about Pi Network for the past 5 years. Now, I want to be completely honest with everyone watching. Trading cryptocurrency always involves risk. The document clearly states that the price of Pi can be highly volatile due to factors such as market sentiment, macroeconomic trends, the adoption of Web3 technologies in the wider economy, and speculative activity. No one can guarantee what will happen to Pi's price after trading begins. What we can say with certainty is that Pi Network has completed the incredibly difficult work of achieving regulatory compliance in one of the world's toughest markets. It has secured a listing on a major global exchange. It has built legitimate corporate structures and legal frameworks. It has created real technology with real utility potential. Everything that needed to happen for Pi to become a legitimate, tradable cryptocurrency has now happened. For the millions of pioneers who clicked that button every day, who endured ridicule from friends and family, who held onto their Pi through years of uncertainty, this moment is your vindication. You were right. They were wrong. You saw the potential when others saw only doubt. You trusted the process when others lost faith. And now that patience is about to be rewarded. The era of speculation about Pi Network is finished. We've entered the execution phase. November 27th and 28th. 2025 are the dates. OKX Europe is the exchange. The legal framework is complete. The regulatory approval process is moving forward. Everything is finally happening. I want to emphasize again how significant it is that Pi achieved MiCA compliance. Most cryptocurrency projects would never even attempt to navigate these regulations because they're so complex and demanding. The fact that Pi not only attempted this but succeeded demonstrates the sophistication and professionalism of the team behind this project. The document runs dozens of pages and covers every aspect of Pi Network's operations, from risk disclosures to technical specifications to governance structures. It's not a simple marketing document or white paper. It's a comprehensive legal filing that European regulators will use to evaluate whether Pi should be permitted to trade in their jurisdiction. The level of detail and transparency in this document should give every pioneer confidence that Pi Network is operating at the highest level of professionalism. This is what a legitimate cryptocurrency project looks like when it's doing everything properly, even if that means taking longer than impatient observers would prefer. As we move toward the end of November, I encourage everyone to stay informed, complete any necessary verification steps, and be prepared for what comes next. Follow official Pi Network channels for updates. Ignore fake news and scam accounts pretending to offer early access or special deals. Stay safe, stay patient, and trust the process that has brought us this far. The journey hasn't been easy. There were moments when even dedicated pioneers questioned whether this day would ever come. But persistence pays off, and this legal document proves that all the hard work, all the waiting, all the faith in the project was justified. Pi Network is about to take its place among the world's legitimate, tradable cryptocurrencies. After 5 years of development, testing, and regulatory work, we're finally at the finish line. November 28th, 2025 will mark the beginning of Pi's new chapter, and every pioneer who stayed the course will be there to see it happen. So, prepare yourself. Make sure your account is ready, complete your verification, secure your wallet, and get ready to be part of history. Because after years of doubt and speculation, Pi Network is finally here, it's finally real, and it's finally happening. The revolution we've been waiting for is about to begin, and I couldn't be more excited to experience it with all of you. Welcome to the future, pioneers. We made it.